Hey guys, it's me, Liv. I hope everyone's doing good out there. Today I'm going to bring you my first YouTube channel video for Not Too Shabby Shops. I'm using this adorable set called Pumpkin Spice Everything. It is actually drawn by Jamie Peters. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a pretty simple distressed ink type of card with some embossing as well. I am using these four colors, which is distressed ink mustard seed, citron, twisted citron. Then I'm going to be using some festive berry and some spice marmalade. Now this video is only going to be slightly sped up because I wanted you guys to be able to see what I'm doing here. So first off, I'm starting with doing my embossing. I'm using this embossing ink that I have that it's a little bit off color, and I purposely want that because sometimes it's hard for me to see the white on white cardstock. So I do sometimes use some type of embossing powder that has a slight tint to it. This has a very small little blue. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my white embossing powder out. I did want this to stand out against my background. I'm going to put my embossing powder on, go ahead and take any excess off of my little fan brush, and then use my heating tool in order to get this onto the card. This is going to create what I call a resist. It's not what I call, what everyone calls a resist here in regards to embossing powders. So once this is all heated up, I'm going to start taking out my distress ink. Now, because these colors are actually only going to be popping through is what I was trying to go for. I'm not really so worried about the placement, and I do want a little bit of a heavier hand on them. So I'm just going to go ahead and create small circles all throughout the projects, just using this paper to kind of hold it down. And I'm going to be doing this with each of the four colors that I have here. Now, I will say my spice marmalade seemed super juicy and kind of overtook some of my other colors, but that's okay. It really works out in the end. And again, my goal is not to do any blending. It's really just to get the color down to make sure that it peeks through when you see the next step that I'm going to go ahead and try to do. So once I have all of the colors down, I'm going to go ahead and take out one of the stencils that I have in my stash. This is a stencil that is made by a Colorful Life Designs. And what I'm going to be doing here is doing a little bit more embossing using the stencil. So I will go ahead and take the stencil and use my ink pad, my embossing pad I made on top of it, in order to add some different color embossing powders here, because again, wanted to pop out. This is going to be randomized. I wanted kind of that mixed media feel that I like to do in regards to this card, but didn't want to go too crazy for those who may not be a huge lover of that. So I'm going to be adding a gold embossing powder instead on top of this. Now here's a mistake that I made, so make sure that you don't do this when you do that. Distress inks can take a little bit of time to dry off, and because I didn't give the underneath ink enough time to dry off, my powder was kind of sticking all over, which actually came out just fine for this project. But if I really did want some more distinctions, I would tell you definitely make sure your distress ink is fully dry. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss this. I don't mind that there's excess all over because it's going to create this golden feel underneath it. And then once this is all dry, I'm going to actually go back with a darker color now and actually cover the entire thing. The brown I decided to use is called Ground Espresso, and it is going to go over all of the card. Now I'm going to be pretty generous with it because I want it to go all over and kind of hide so that the underneath colors are more peeking through and they're not really central to the card. I also felt like it just wasn't enough depth for what I had in my head. Then I decided to pull out a green that's called Forest Moss to go over the edging of it to really make it pop, and then carry it a little bit into the surrounding the actual sentiment. But I want you to see how well, because of the white embossing powder, the stamped image stays and kind of really comes to the surface. I'm going to take a little bit of a paper towel, start wiping it down and trying to get some of that top layer color off so that the other underneath colors start popping out like I was looking to do. Once that is done, I wanted the stamped image to stand out just a little bit, so I'm going to pull out my water brush, and with my water brush I am going to try to lift off a little bit of the color and then add some of the original 4 colors that I used into it so that it can brighten it up a bit. Now you'll find that over on the Not Too Shabby Shop that Jamie Peters has a line of digital stamps that she has produced and she has drawn herself. She is the owner of Not Too Shabby and she is an artist as well. So she creates not just the digital stamps, but she also started doing some rubber or clear stamps that you're going to see here. And I am so excited to be using some of these clear stamps. She does have a number of other fantastic companies that she keeps in stock. I just think I bought every single one of the new releases from Stamping Bella, or almost every single one, so I'm super excited to have that. I will be listing down a code if you guys wish to use it for 10% off for anyone who is shopping, and I have my affiliate code down there and I would appreciate that. So next I'm going to be moving on to the die that I'm using. I can't remember what company this is. I'm really bad about keeping track of my dies. I will not lie about that. So now I have this edging. I'm going to pop out some more of that green so it can bring it out in the card as well and do a layered look with the center being popped up. This seems to be my favorite theme right now lately, if you haven't noticed. I just like the depth that a couple of different layers give to a card, but only the center here is going to be popped up. The other elements are not. Once I have that going, I will then get this card finished, and I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Super simple technique, but it really adds so much depth with this color, and that is something that I really enjoy. I would suggest, if this is not a technique if you're messy like me and about to go out anywhere, because as you can see I'm covered with ink, but that's okay. And do go check out the Not Too Shabby Shop for all the fantastic products that they have there. Not only Jamie's line, but all of the other fantastic companies that she carries. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Have a great night.